Sometimes we find ourselves in situations, in relationships that are not good for us. Can I get an amen? We have experienced all kinds of relationships because, you know, you can't live in this world by yourself. You're going to interact with someone. So you have relationships of marital, family, friendships, acquaintances, work and professional. Maybe you have your landlord and tenant relationship, which I hope is good, your community, and even we have relationships with our enemies. And then we have relationships with ourselves. And so today I want to talk about the importance of having healthy relationships, because sometimes we have unhealthy relationships and we don't even recognize. We don't even recognize that we're going through difficult times in relationships because they're not what God meant for us. So it is important that we understand that God doesn't want us to dwell on toxic relationships, but he wants us to build healthy relationships. Turn to your neighbor and say, I need more healthy relationships. See, building healthy relationships is extremely important because it plays a major role in your personality and your characteristics. See, bad relationships can seriously harm us. It can suck the happiness out of you. How many of you been having a good day and you get with somebody and all of a sudden your whole day is messed up? It can suck the joy out of you. It can suck the life out of you. You just feel so weak and tired and lifeless because this person is draining you. They make you feel and bring on all these pressures of stress, of anger, of sadness, of depression, and it can even cause us health issues. Think about if you have some health issues, high blood pressure, sugar diabetes, high cholesterol, you have heart situations. Could it be that you're in a stressful relationship that's triggering these things? Could it be that you are eating unhealthy foods because you're triggered by stress, because of toxic relationships? So you find yourself overeating, eating the wrong foods, and indulging in foods that's not healthy for you all the time because what? You're stressed out. And as a result, we get moody. How many can testify with this? We have racing thoughts that we can't release. We have secretive behaviors that we exhibit hanging around the wrong people. And it contributes to our health and well-being of life. So I want to talk to you today about toxic relationships. It's important for you to move forward in your life, for you to be successful, that your heart, your mind, your spirit has to be clear and directed toward the Lord. And sometimes when you have negative people in your ear all the time, you can't hear. God said this message is for somebody. So instead of taking authority over harmful relationships, what we do is we cause barriers between you and your happiness. So instead of you grabbing hold and releasing and saying no to that negative relationship, you continue on and you allow it to separate you from your happiness. And toxic people, we give them power. We give them authority to hold us in guilt, in shame, in condemnation. And guess what? That stuff weighs heavily on us. And sometimes we don't even realize that we walking all bent over and bent down because we're so down and depressed and we don't recognize it. Today, we're going to talk about it and recognize it, and we're going to destroy it and get rid of it. See, I can talk about this because in my marriage early on, I went through some things dealing with my husband being on drug abuse. And at that time, it was mentally draining. And his behaviors coming in at all times of the night, taking things illegally. Now, this is years ago, y'all. This is in the beginning. Just being addicted. And he's told this story many of times. But, for me, it was, draining mentally. It felt like I was mentally being abused. And it kept me depressed. It kept me sad, unhappy. I was moody, had a bad attitude, and desiring to be by myself. I covered up my true feelings. I covered up who I really was. And I pretended like I was happy. I pretended to my family, to my friends, to my children, like nothing was going on. But deep down inside, I was hurting. And I said the things that people wanted to hear. I sacrificed my happiness for others. And I was just going through the motions like a zombie, just going through the motions, but I wasn't living. And the Lord is saying that somebody's watching online that's having these same issues. You're just going through life, and you really aren't accomplishing anything because you really can't think clearly because it's like robotic. I just get up every morning. I do the same thing. I face the same thing. I'm going through the same stress. Nothing is happy for me. Seems like nothing is going for me. I don't have no favor in my life, and I'm tired of it. I said, this is your day for change. This is your day for understanding. This is your day for answers and results. Because toxic people and toxic relationships do alter the way we live our lives and how we interact with one another. Ask yourself, why is she so bitter? What are they going through? Ask yourself, why am I so unhappy? What is it? What is in my life that's lurking that I'm missing, that I'm not seeing? See, I realize that I have to share my stories, and the purpose of my life. The Lord said to me that there are some people sitting here that's entangled. That means you're all knotted up. It's hard to get out. It's hard to move away. You don't know how, but you're entangled in troubled marriages, bad relationships, bad relationships with your children. You're detached from your siblings and your family members. You have unhealthy friendships and work relationships. And we've become disengaged because of that. And many times, it always seems that people want to attack us and make it seem like it's our fault. And so we go through life being misunderstood. We go through life where people try to change us to be what they want us to be, because they don't realize that God has given you a gift. He has given you a certain way that he wants you to live, and it's always somebody trying to attack your character to change you and weigh you down. But if you're in this type of relationship, what is God trying to say to you? What's your purpose and your calling to a toxic relationship? Because it's not always meant to run. It's not always meant to leave. You can't always walk away, but sometimes God will put you in a relationship to learn how to defeat and conquer those negative situations. Let me say that again. Sometimes God will put you in the midst of a bad situation to learn how to defeat and conquer it. You were put there for a purpose because you got it inside of you. You just need to learn how to be bold and use it. The word is in you, and somebody needs to be encouraged, and that's why God put them in your life with all the difficulties, with all the wrong, with all the stuff they doing. God sent them to you. And you can't just run, and you can't just leave.
On my side, I don't know where I would be. Fellowship, let's go.
My